Hello and welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be speaking with Mr. Larry Kemp, owner of Kemp & Sons General Services. He's joining us to talk about how he's had to restructure his business to stay afloat during this COVID-19 pandemic. Welcome to Health Professional Radio. Larry Kemp, thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for having me, sir.
For our listeners who aren't familiar with Kemp & Sons, even though I've spoken with one of your representatives before, give us a bit of your professional background and then talk about your role there at Kemp.
Okay, fantastic. Kemp & Sons General Services, Inc. is a 48-year-old family-owned business. Started out as a mom-and-pop organization, grew over the years to up to 200 people prior to the pandemic. Since then, we've had to what I call pivot, trying to have the best company during these times and believing that it's going to take us farther and better than we had ever thought.
When you say that you pivoted, you haven't changed the thoroughness with which you conduct your business. Are you cleaning more, harder? Are you using different chemicals because of the COVID-19 pandemic, or were you always disinfecting and cleaning to the nth degree, even before the pandemic?
Well, in prior years, when the H1N1 scare came, we did a lot of cleaning during that saga. But there's different levels of cleaning, but we've always tried to pass on to our customers the best cleaning methods that the industry has.
Obviously, the questions and the services that clients required prior to this pandemic have changed. What are your clients? What are your clients looking for now?
Everybody's worried about sanitization and being safe, and I agree with them. It's something that in this industry, if you do your homework and attend classes like we do, you're aware that this is really an ongoing problem. Diseases and bloodborne and airborne pathogens are always existed. People get sick, but not to this extent. So this is something we've always been aware of. We've always cleaned for. I think this one just kind of, was bigger than everybody expected, especially me.
Was there a huge misconception among your clients when it came to cleaning as opposed to sanitizing?
I think the scare of it all made everyone cautious. But the only drawback was a lot of entities didn't want to pay the cost that the industry applied to this specialized cleaning method.
Well, that doesn't seem like a very smart move to make under the circumstances that are not just local but worldwide.
I've done seminars to public entities like churches and schools that are gradually migrating back, and talked about the social distancing, the wearing of the face covering, washing your hands constantly, and just really trying to be safe and cautious with everything you do.
Have you found yourself having to educate clients on the requirements to be safe during this pandemic? Do some of them just have no clue and they say, hey, you come in, take over and do whatever you need to do?
No, I think the impact that this pandemic has had on virtually any common sense individual, they're aware of it. And I think people are taking positive steps in a gradual manner to come back to what's normal, trying to get back to a normal lifestyle, whatever that may be.
When it comes to personal protective equipment, were you all using equipment such as masks for vapors or dust or anything like that? Obviously, you've been using rubber gloves and things.
We've used all the coverings, mask shields, complete body coverings in the past, depending on a particular situation, whether it was a hazardous spill or blood or any bodily fluid, we would have on all the PPE. So we're used to doing it.
So now you're using PPE no matter what site that you're working on?
Not necessarily. Things are getting back to, I wouldn't say normal. I've been meeting with a lot of prospective clients over the last 100 days, and they're just looking to get back to normal, practicing social distancing. Here in the state of Texas, our governor kind of raised the requirement of the face covering, but different businesses, schools, churches, and organizations still require you to enter their premises. You still have to have face covering.
Do you find that as restrictions are lifted, that you all are still practicing as if those restrictions were still in place? Is that something that you're doing, or are you going with the flow?
Doing both. If a lot of eateries, restaurants, and the like, I've noticed I haven't seen people wearing them, and I might have one with me, I might have it on, I might take it off. It just depends on the atmosphere which I'm in.
What would you say, other than clients dropping off, was your biggest challenge when this COVID-19 pandemic hit for Kemp and Sons?
Just really changing the structure of our company.
Mm-hmm.
We went from having large structured accounts to now we're more nimble. I'd rather have an account, instead of having a 400,000 square foot building, I'd rather have 3 or 4 50,000 square foot buildings, because that one building, when it's gone, it's gone. That one, I have at least 3 to 4 more chances to push that contract out another term, and also have 4 different payment streams. And in our industry, it's I think the larger the contract, it seems the slower the customer pays.
That seems to be across the board. The bigger the pockets, the slower the payout.
Yes, sir.
Well, what about residential services? Were you involved? Obviously, in the beginning, 40-something years ago, residential may have been one of the mainstays. Did it come back around as a lifesaver during this pandemic, or were you still doing homes anyway?
It came back around full force, so much so that we had a temporary maid service going out almost on a daily basis. It's died somewhat because people don't want the full-scale cleaning, and that's what we were offering. We were offering sanitizations, disinfecting, along with the cleaning. The sites we went to, but now people are kind of scaling back, and we still do it, but we do it on a limited basis.
Talk a little bit about how you educate your crew as they get out and encounter different situations in different buildings.
Basically, we go through various training modules and practicals. Everybody thinks they know how to clean because they clean their kitchen. So since the industry has evolved, and it's not like what it used to be when I took over the business 20-something years ago.
Where do you see the future of cleaning services, especially on a large scale such as yours?
Well, I think, even with the virtual learning and business options, I think the concern about cleaning and sanitization has been risen to be on everybody's forefront of everybody's mind. So what it's done is really bring customers around to demand and want a good cleaning service with trained people that know what they're doing in the site.
Larry, is there a website that our listeners can go to and maybe get some more information about Kemp & Sons?
Yes, sir. You can go to our website. It's www.kempandsons.net, and it talks about our history, the many services we offered some of our main and biggest clients over the years, our community involvement, and just, tries to paint a picture of the company we're striving to be every day.
Great. Well, Larry, I appreciate you joining us here on Health Professional Radio. Pleasure speaking with you, and I'm sure we'll be speaking again in the future.
Okay, I appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard, in conversation with Mr. Larry Kemp, owner of Kemp & Sons General Services. Audio copies of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. Listen in, download at SoundCloud, and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Health Professional Radio.